Disclosure. All information is public record. This is our own opinion. We are not making fun of anyone or anything. This is all for entertainment.
Welcome back to Relatives Detectives. We're going to be listening to Kaylor today tell us a story.
Story time! Okay. Before we start this video, I just want to give a quick warning. Warning in this video, we're going to be talking about harm of children and SA. If any of this topic just doesn't sit right with you, just don't watch this. Go watch another one of our videos. Just take care of yourself out there. All right. Can you imagine if the person that you married, you love, and everything would just end up murdering you?
No, because you trust them,
Mm-hmm.
like with your life, or you think you should, I guess. I mean, you marry somebody, you think you know them.
Yeah. I mean, there's murders out
You
there
trust
for
them.
loved ones and all that stuff, but this one's a little bit crazy. So we're going to be talking about Nannie Doss, aka Giggling Granny. Little giggly goo. That's so stupid. So Nannie Doss was born in 1905 in Blue Mountain, Alabama. Roll Tide. Just kidding. No balls. Nannie was one of 5 children. Her father was Jim Hazel and her mother was Lou Hazel. Nannie's childhood was very unhappy and difficult, and it was just not good. Her father, who may or may not have been her father, from some of the researches and everything that I've read, when her mother and father met, her mother was actually already married, and she never really said who the father was of the baby she was pregnant with.
She was already pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Jim, her father, may or may not actually be her biological father.
Okay.
But he was abusive, demanding. He kept Nannie and her siblings away from school. He pulled them away from school for long periods of time to perform house chores and work on their family farm that they own. They own a family farm. I'm not really sure what the family farm was, if it was animals or it could have just been crops and stuff. But they had a family farm, and he kept them away from schooling and all that education.
Yeah, and who knows what else he was doing. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
But her mother, Lou, was very loving and generous, and for her and her siblings and stuff. So she was a really nice lady, apparently, from the books and research and stuff. You're gonna say something?
Of course I'm going to say something. If you're a good mom,
mm-hmm.
and you have kids that are being abused by their father or stepfather or whoever else, you would stick up for your children, would you not? I mean,
it should be your motherly feeling. What's
I mean, he's abusing them or whatever, and she's supposedly a great loving mother. Well, she needs to be doing something about it.
Mm-hmm. But
anyway,
apparently not. When Nannie was 7 years old, she suffered a head injury when a train in which she was riding slowed down suddenly, and it caused her to hit her head on the seat in front of her, the metal train seat. She hit her head, which later on during this video, she said that that's the reason for her behavior and all that stuff.
So that's number one excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number one, there was a lot of excuses.
Oh, okay. I'm waiting for those excuses.
Yeah. She was also reportedly really big into romance novels and stuff, and she really liked the Lonely Heart columns of the newspapers, which you'll figure out.
She was living in a fantasy world.
She really loved all the romance, the magazines. I guess, I don't know, back in the day, if they had it on the radios, maybe?
Yeah,
I'm not really sure. Yeah. I mean, that'd be pretty cool to have it on. Well, we do have kind of technically on the radio. It's podcasts and stuff and audiobooks and everything. So her first husband, Charlie Braggs, Braggs. He was an alcoholic, and he was actually abusive. He also had the same temperament and stuff as her father.
Daddy issues.
Daddy issues. Number one. They met in.
She's doing. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
She's doing what she knows
Mm-hmm.
is what's happening. Like if she keeps picking, she's picked this husband and she's used to how her dad does. It's the same.
Yeah,
same thing.
But her and Charlie met in 1921 while working at the Linen Thread Company in nearby Anniston. They actually got married when she was 16 years old. 16.
16 is too young to get married.
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff like that goes on in earlier times, just it boggles my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like 16's a child. Like, it's been scientifically proven that your brain doesn't develop all the way until you're like 25 years old. Like, what kind of decisions and things are you doing at 16? Probably stuff you're not supposed to be doing, or I mean, like, no, that's going to mess you up. If you start that early with an abusive husband, that's totally going to mess you up.
Yeah. Like 16, I think, yeah, it was way too much. They got married. She was 16, and like within months of actually meeting each other, they got married. So it was like rushed into marriage, and a young marriage.
She wasn't pregnant before she got married, was she?
No.
Oh, okay.
But when they moved in, they actually moved in with Charlie's mother too. So it was her husband, and his mother.
Okay.
But soon after they got married, they started popping them babies out. I mean, she was a baby factory. They ended up
at 16 years old.
At 16.
Okay.
Like that. Like, I know there's teen pregnancy and everything out there, and there's actually younger girls who have children at 14 and all that stuff. But from the experience that I've had of somebody who's having a child at a young age, you're not prepared for that.
No,
even if
not.
you're married,
no,
you're not mentally prepared to, be a mother right then and there.
No, I mean, we have TV shows now about that, and you can see, I mean, you can see that people are not ready at 16 years old to have children.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're just not.
No, like it's insane. But they end up having 4 kids, but sadly, 2 of them died in 1927 after eating breakfast one morning. And just died. Apparently, it was said that they died of food poisoning. But like, in my mind, I think food poisoning. I think like, you eat some bad shrimp, eat some bad something, some gas station sushi.
Gas station sushi.
I've actually had it before.
Stay away from gas stations.
I had it before, and
no, you didn't.
Yes, I did. It was a local restaurant around here that made it and sold it at a gas station. And I ate it one day on my way to work because I was hungry and it was the only thing there. And I ate it and I didn't get sick.
Oh, well.
Lucky for you.
Lucky for you.
I know. But they died of food poisoning. And also, her husband, Charlie's mother, died too.
So did the kids die at the same time?
Yes, they both died.
Okay.
So out of 4 kids, only 2 died. I guess the other 2, one of them was a newborn baby.
Okay,
so
it wasn't eating what they were
was, the survivors were a newborn baby and their oldest daughter.
Okay.
So they died, and her husband was pretty much like, he knew not to eat her food. He kind of like knew something was up a little bit with her. Mm-hmm. She wasn't like really, her rocker was off a little bit. And she wasn't I was going to say she's not the brightest crown in the box, but that's not really her kind of thing. But yeah, or the sharpest
tool in the shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he kind of knew not to like eat. After the 2 children died, he kind of got pissed off and he was like, you know what? Bye. Like, I'm taking the oldest. He took the oldest daughter with him.
Okay. So he's like, I'm done. I know something's wrong. I'm taking my kid and I'm outie.
Yeah, so he took the oldest, but he left the newborn with Nannie. Like, that's where I'm kind of like...
No, if you're going to take your kids, take your kids.
Yeah.
If you know something's wrong, you got to take all the kids with you. Don't leave them.
But he left the newborn with Nannie, and they end up getting divorced in 1928. And then Charlie returned back home with their daughter Melvina. I think that's saying that correctly. I don't know. It's a really pretty name. But he returned back home with her daughter Melvina, and when he came back home, he actually brought a woman with him, his new love interest.
Okay.
So that's where I'm kind of like, he left and everything. So the children died in 1927, and then they divorced in 1928. Not really sure like the date of when they
Right.
died. So, but let's say they died in December of 27, and he returns back in 28. It's kind of like, did he have somebody on the side?
So he's showing up with his new girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and he's brought the daughter back.
Yeah.
And does he leave her?
Yeah. He ends up coming back with the daughter and all that stuff, and then he takes the kids back, or takes.
We think that he's a great person in the beginning by leaving and taking his kid with him. Oh no, a girl is more important.
Mm-hmm.
So let's bring my kid back to the woman that I think's off her rocker because I need to be with some chick.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So he returns back home with their daughter and everything, and then so Nannie then takes the two children and she moves back in with her parents, and she worked in a local cotton mill to help support them, bring money in, feed them. I want to feed them. You know what I mean?
Why?
Yeah. So after the divorce and everything, she meets her second husband, a Jacksonville Floridian named Frank Harrelson. And they actually met through the Lonely Heart newspaper columns that she really liked as a kid and everything. And she met through that, and he just wooed her with his poetry.
So like in today's time, she'd be on the Tinder.
Yeah, Tinder, Bumble. Facebook's got their own dating thing too.
Oh, do they? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She's on the online meetamurderer.com.
Powersonly.com. But they ended up marrying in 1928. So so they get divorced in 1920. Her and her husband get divorced in 1928. Her second husband married in 1929.
Oh,
so
that's
it was
fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
My goodness, does people not just get to know each other nowadays, or back then? I guess they didn't. I don't know. But they ended up getting married in 1928, but the marriage became rocky. Frank was an alcoholic. He had a violent temper too. I guess they really
She picking them.
Yeah.
She picking them.
She knows how to pick them. During this period, Nannie allegedly killed her newborn granddaughter with a hat pin. It's a pin. To the brain shortly after the birth, according to the family members who were at the hospital.
How do you kill somebody with a hairpin? Or am I thinking of...
It's either hairpin, hat pin. I've read two different things.
Because a hairpin's like a little bitty something. I don't see how you...
It's a newborn baby, so they're teeny tiny.
Well, yeah.
But a hat pin, I guess I don't really know what a hat pin looks like. Because they always wear those little cute little hats, and they pin them. So she ended up going to the brain. I'm not sure where, in the eye, and
ear,
this soft spot on the head.
So,
allegedly she killed her granddaughter, and also a few months later after that, Nannie allegedly killed her 2-year-old grandson Robert when he was left in her care. Yeah. And it was his death was determined as, here we go again, asphyxiation.
Asphyxiation. There it is. Asphyxiation.
Yeah. And when that happened, before that happened, actually, Nannie took out a $500 life insurance policy on him before
Nannie, leave the kids alone. Why you gotta, not the kids.
But my thing is also too, it's how does she get to put that life insurance out? She's just a grandmother.
Yeah.
I don't think my mom can go and do that with my niece.
No.
Or you could do that with me. Or no.
No.
Or whatever. You can't, it has to be the guardian parent.
Yeah, it does.
Unless back in the day
like,
they didn't get
I couldn't even do that with my son. He's 20 years old now.
Yeah.
He's got to do his own stuff like that. Like, I don't know how it worked back then. So,
Yeah.
everything's so different. So,
yeah. So she collected that insurance money on him. Horrible, horrible thing. But luckily, well, it's good, bad, whatever you want to call it. Frank and Nannie's marriage actually lasted 16 years. So you think, okay, maybe she did fine. The one lasted 16 years. That's a lot. That's a long time.
I guess for Nannie, maybe.
Until one night, Frank came. He was out partying with some of his friends that returned back from serving in World War II. He was out partying, drinking, having a party day. He came home and he was, I guess, in a way aggressive. He was drunk, all that stuff. He actually essayed Nannie. And with that, I guess that was just the final nail in the coffin.
Yep. Final straw.
Yeah, the final straw. Because the next day or night or whatever, she put rat poisoning in Frank's hidden jar. I've read between two things: moonshine, bourbon, some type of liquor, because he was an alcoholic. She put rat poisoning in it, and he died on September 1945. So 16 years down the drain. I could see that too, because that's a horrible thing what he did to her.
Yeah, but whatever you call normal nowadays, but normal people don't kill people. You would just leave.
That's true too. Yeah,
you just be like, I'm getting a divorce. I'm outie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not staying here with you. You don't go put rat poison in their bourbon.
Tasty. So
I wonder what that tastes like.
Rat poison?
Yeah,
want to try it?
Yeah, let's go do that right now.
Let's go down to the Home Depot.
Go down to the Home Depot and get some rat poison. But like, doesn't it have a taste? Would it not? I don't know. I'm gonna Google that right now while I'm sitting here, because I want to know if it has a taste. Now, here I am Googling this, and if something happens and somebody gets my phone, they'll be like, "Why is she Googling? Does rat poison have a taste?"
Now, I do know that antifreeze has a sweet taste, because there was, I did watch a documentary one time that a family, it was a mother and a daughter that was poisoning their family with antifreeze and Coca-Cola. So
I think I've seen that.
Yeah. Now that one, and they said it was
because they were opening the bottles and putting it in there and then putting them back in the.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it has a sweet taste. Is rat poison the same?
It says the problem with typical rat control is that most poisons taste horribly bitter.
Well, I could see some alcohol can be like, whoo, when it hits you in the chest, it's like, ooh, that's burning.
I guess alcohol, it is burning, so I wonder if that would take away the bitter taste, just because, alcohol's strong. If you're drinking bourbon, that's pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I had to see.
Yeah, back there in the day, moonshine, moonshine's not like made like how it is up here anymore. It's made, back there in the corn, out there in the mountains. So after the death of her second husband, she met her third husband. How I do this?
Number 3.
This.
Third time's a charm.
Really not.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So she met her husband, Arlie Lanning. Arlie, A-R-L-I-E. Arlie Lanning of Lexington, North Carolina. They also met through the Lonely Heart columns in the newspaper.
Oh,
so
she's back on Tinder.
Yeah, she's back on that. She's back on that grind. You know what I mean? But he was actually too an alcoholic, but he wasn't violent apparently. But he was a womanizer.
Okay,
so he liked to sleep around with a whole bunch of other women, and I think also it also says in there too that the reason why I think that she killed, because he was a womanizer, and she's all about those romance stuff, and she was like, looking for that perfect love and all that stuff. And
you can't be cheating.
Yeah, he's going around sleeping with other women.
If you're going to be in a romance novel, you can't be cheating on people. You got to be, right with them all the time.
Yeah. So she then used rat poisoning again to be the provider of her method of choice. So she poisoned one of his meals.
Oh, okay.
So
she went different direction.
Yeah, she didn't go in the drink. She went straight for a meal. Well, she kind of, if anything, allegedly, when she killed her two children, she also killed the
Oh,
food,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So she poisoned him in his meal, and he died in 1950. And his death was listed as heart failure because he was a heavy drinker. And there was also a flu virus going around in the area at the time, so they kind of really didn't bat an eye. They were just like, okay, yeah, he was a heavy drinker, heart failure. Oh, you know what? There was also a flu going around. So back in there in the day, flus kill. They still kill today. The flu does. But yeah,
we had more medicine today than they did back then. So yeah.
Nannie, during like the funeral, all that stuff of her husband, the residents of Lexington, they were very, they thought that she was like just the perfect spouse and all that stuff. And the town people were so worried about her. They were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry if you're lost. Is there anything we could do for you? Oh, that's just so horrible. You guys just got married.
Like, yeah, she's the victim in all the stuff that's going on in her life because nobody really knows what's actually going on.
Yeah. So they were just like really concerned and everything for her. And she's just, behind the scenes like,
yeah.
Creepy giggling granny. But she stayed in Lexington during the time and all that stuff because most of the time, she left. Like when her first husband, she moved in with her family and, she left and found a new husband shortly after. But this time she stayed in Lexington. And during that time...
Well, I guess if she's poisoning people, she's leaving as quick as she possibly can,
Mm-hmm.
She don't want to get people to get suspicious. Suspicious.
As Bailey Sarian says, she goes, suspicious.
We love Bailey Sarian, by the way. Yes. She's amazing.
I love her so much. But when she stayed there, suddenly her house burns down that they were living in. And Nannie got the insurance money for that. So she was burned down a house, killing people. And but she did not leave still. Okay, your husband dies, your house burns down, you're thinking, okay, in her eyes, because she says she doesn't kill anybody or whatever later on, but you find out, but spoiler, she says, you would think, okay, this town's cursed. Like most people be like, okay, I gotta get out of here. My house burned down, my husband died, I gotta go. But she didn't until Lanny, her husband's elderly mother, dies.
Okay.
So apparently she dies in her sleep or whatever. Mysteriously just dies in her sleep. I mean, that can be a thing. Like, yeah, she's elderly. Because people just...
But I mean, of course, you're like, this woman's supposedly like taking out like most of her family and her husband's and, so if anybody around her dies, you're automatically going to think, well, she did it because everybody else around them is passing away. So, I mean, everybody's going to think she did it anyway.
Mm-hmm. But after after his death, Nannie went and lived with her sister, Dovie. Such it's a weird name, Dovie.
Dovie?
Yeah.
That sounds like something you'd name your dog.
Dovie!
Dovie! That sounds like a dog name.
Uh-huh.
That would be a cute dog name.
Little corgi Dovie. But when she went to live with her sister, like soon after Nannie arrived and all that, her sister became bedridden and her sister actually died. So, I mean, sounds
just
to
one
me...
right after another one. Yeah,
it sounds like she's a black cloud. Like she's just... all the people are dying around her. So after her sister dies and everything, she then meets her fourth husband, number 4.
Third time evidently wasn't the charm.
No, because she had to move on to 4, and I don't know what a good thing for 4 is, but it ain't 4 ain't the charm. She met her husband, Richard Morton of Kansas, Emporia, Kansas, Emporia. Emporia? Kansas. Let's just say
Emporia,
Kansas.
I think. Say it.
Yeah.
Sorry if we're wrong.
Yeah. She met him. I've read 2 different things and research and all that stuff. Somebody says the Diamond Circle Club I'm not really sure pretty much
It
what
was probably like
that is.
another dating thing.
Yeah, like, and I also read that it was the Lonely Heart columns too in the
okay.
newspaper, so it could be pretty much she was back on Tinder grinding again.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's back up on there trying to find her.
Murderer.com.
But he was a womanizer.
Imagine that.
He liked to sleep around with other women. Why get married?
She picks them. I don't know.
Okay, if you want to be a womanizer
Well,
and you want to go around sleeping people, just don't get married.
That's true on the guy's part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, if that's what you want to do, then why are you getting married?
Yeah. I don't know.
Kind of dumb.
Hey, that was stupid. But before she could poison him, she poisoned her own mother, allegedly. Her mother came to live with them in January of 1953 after the death of her father. There was also research showing that the reason why she came and lived with them is because she injured her hip, had a hip fracture or whatever, so she had to come stay with them. But the information was like, this didn't say it, but some people said this, so I'm just going to put all the information.
I wonder what she got out of her mom.
I don't know. But her mother, when her mother arrived shortly after, she started complaining of stomach pains and all that stuff, and then she just died. Yeah. So she could be poisoning her slowly, some rat poison in the meal.
I mean, come on, we all think she's killing all of these people. So I do anyway. My opinion.
3 months after poisoning her own mother, she then kills Richard with
the hammer?
The hammer.
in the billiard room?
Mustard. What was his name? Mustard.
Colonel Mustard.
Colonel Mustard.
Colonel Mustard in the billiard room with the pipe.
Yeah, she killed Richard with not rat poisoning, arsenic.
Oh.
She changed it up on him in a thermos full of coffee in May of 1953. So, yeah. And later on, figure out, but she admits that the reason why she killed him is because she was mad at him because he was shining up with other women.
Shining up
with other women.
Shining up with other women.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could see that too, being mad because he was going around womanizing, but you don't. Come on,
nobody wants to be cheated on.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't murder.
Yeah.
You just leave.
Just bye. So, after that, she met her 5th and final husband.
Oh, number 5. Mambo number 5.
I don't know how the song goes. I forgot how it goes. But she meets her 5th husband, Samuel Doss. That's the reason how she kept her last name as Nannie Doss.
Okay.
Samuel Doss of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I can't remember the song that goes Oklahoma, but there's a song that goes with Oklahoma. I can't remember. But they met in 1953. And I'm not sure when they got married and all that stuff, but they met in 1953. But you would think, okay, what's he got now? An alcoholic, a womanizer, temper, violent.
She's picking good ones here.
Apparently he was none of that. He was a very clean-cut, churchy man.
He wasn't no bad boy. Because you know these women got to go for the bad boys.
Mm-hmm. He was a very clean, churchy man. He didn't drink alcohol. He wasn't a womanizer. None of that. But
well, good for him.
There's always flaws in marriage.
Never mind.
She will find. Yeah. So he did not like her romance novels. He forbidden magazines and television shows that were not enlightening or educational.
Okay.
He wanted that PBS for kids on
TV. PBS for kids.
Reading Rainbow, all that stuff. Yeah. He did not want any of that.
You know what that reminds me of? And not to bring this into a video, but that kind of reminds me of like the way the Duggars are. You know what I mean? They can only watch things that are educational, and they don't really watch TV. They don't really listen to music. They don't, because it's that, what is that guy's name? That I think his name's like Bill Gothard or something. That's like the head of that whatever church it is. I don't even know. I think it's kind of cultish if you ask me, but that's my opinion. Anyway,
it totally is.
It kind of reminds me of that. Like, you can't do this, you can't do that.
I think of anything that's controlling, like a large group of people that one person controls them and tells them what to do, is a cult.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Talk about cults real quick. I have to tell you this. Me and Mom was watching this one cult thing, and it was in like New Zealand or Australia, and like they were marrying young like this and everything, and like they would have their wedding in front of everybody, and then they would leave and go and what's the word? Consummate their marriage. Consummate their marriage, and then they would return back. So like everybody knows what they were doing.
Oh,
I mean, that's so
weird.
That's so bad. Yeah. And then they would finish out the party.
Back in the day, like like Tudor England times, maybe a little back before Tudor, but they had people come in and watch. Like, yes, after you got married, and they wanted you to consummate that relationship. Because they wanted, basically women were baby factories. So they just wanted you to consummate that relationship, and they wanted to know you did, so then you could, start having children, because they didn't want you to say, be able to say, this union wasn't consummated, so I can get this annulled or whatever. If somebody saw you do the deed, then you knew it was consummated. Nobody could lie about it, and then you were just pumping out them babies for the next heir to come along. And of course, back then, babies passed away a lot because there wasn't the technology we have today. But yeah, they would have people come in and watch them do the deed.
No, thank you.
Like, no, okay. We got off topic a little bit, but anyways,
back to this murdering bitch. But
back to the crazy hoe.
He was like, no, none of that, nothing like that. And he was very set in his ways. And he also really wanted Nannie to be like the good churchy wife, like church on Sundays. This. You're gonna, praise the Lord and do everything that the church asked for. What he asked
Lady
for.
in the streets, freak in the sheets.
No, and no, because he prevented, the magazines, the romance novels. He saw them as like the devil, evil. Like no. He didn't want her any radio or televisions that were not enriching the mind. And he also was like, the comedies, anything like that, any like of her love stories and all that were taboo. And bedtime was at 9:30. Like at 9:30, it was like, bam, you're going to bed. Your ass better be in that bed at 9:30.
He was a schedule maker.
Yeah, and he also pre-scheduled sex.
Oh, he really was a schedule maker.
Yeah, he was like,
wow, how boring would that be?
Like, can you imagine? Like, he's like the day before, hey, we're gonna do the deed at like 8:30, and like you're stuck there all day thinking about that. Yeah. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, you got to go to work tomorrow. Like,
yep.
Oh, but yeah,
it's the 8:30 deed.
So he was very, very boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Like, you're gonna do this.
Well, she went from like 4 of, like the bad boy thing, and then flip 3. Well, not 180, I guess, not 360, because then that'd be all the way around. That's kind of dumb. But 180 and went total opposite. Like, dang.
Yeah, and you would think, oh, okay, good church man, whatever. Yeah. And it's like, a lot of people appear outside to the world, be like, oh, they look so like, oh, he's a good church man, but behind closed doors, it's not very churchy. Well, in my eyes, I don't believe that.
I mean, that's probably, that's abuse in another way, kind of, I guess, really.
It's like mentalish abuse.
Yeah, it's not the physical or the drinking or the essaying or anything that she went through before, but it's like, it's still probably mentally.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But during all that time, Nannie apparently left for a short period of time. In protest for it, she was like, okay, you don't want me to have my romance novels, any of that. You know what? I'm going to leave for some time until you can get your ass straight, like your everything. But during that time, it says he did this, and it also says that she did this. So either one of them, put her name on his bank account, and also took out 2 life insurance policies and naming her as a beneficiary.
Okay, my opinion is she went and did that because bitch knows she's gonna poison this guy. because he's already getting on her nerves because he's making her do shit she don't want to do, and she went and did that on purpose so then she could turn around and kill him and get whatever it was that she.
Yeah, because also like a good churchy guy, back there, and I mean, even nowadays, the churchy people are like, oh, he's the man of the house. He has control of this, the money, of like all that stuff. Like you're supposed to listen to him and worship him in a way. And so like I wouldn't see that he would go and do that. Right. Because like he should be in charge of the money and everything. Yeah. So yeah, it could have been her that did it too. But she tried to kill him once and it didn't work. And he ended up, it says that it was with arsenic laced prune pudding or prune cake.
Ooh, yeah. Prune cake.
But also somebody said something about like a sweet potato pie. It was some type of like cake pie thingy, or whatever.
Do people make prune cake? That's disgusting.
I don't know. People out there eat, what's that, fruit cake?
Oh, them little Christmas fruit cakes are so gross.
If you enjoy them,
more power to you.
No, okay? If you enjoy them, if somebody out there enjoys that, you're gonna be on episode of 2020.
Yeah,
you're like, you got some mental problems. No offense, but damn, this thing's nasty.
Those things look like you could take it to, you could like bust a window out with that thing. It's just like a block
of nastiness.
Total disgusting. Like it just, oh no.
I know they already have them out in the grocery store.
Yeah, they do. I saw them the other day.
I was like, put that in the trash can. No, ma'am.
We just take the shelf and just rake them off.
Yeah, just with the mushrooms.
No, I like mushrooms.
Anyways, but she tried to kill him once with the whole cake pie thing with arsenic, but failed, and he spent a month in the hospital recovering. And when he returned home, she used her tried and true, either arsenic or rat poisoning, either one. There's two different story things with it, but she put it in his coffee. She used that, and he died shortly after. So you're thinking, okay, that was her fifth and final husband. Well, how the hell did she get caught? And everything, like, did she slip up or whatever? So the doctor who's treating Doss, the husband, suspected foul play after sending him home with a stomach infection, because you're thinking, okay, yeah, what the heck, this dude, I just sent him home with a stomach infection, like he should be fine, flushed it out of his system, whatever, like he should be fine to go. So the doctor ordered an autopsy, but he had to convince Nannie for him to perform the autopsy, stating this could save other lives. Like, hey, this guy, he just had a stomach infection. Like, this could really help somebody,
Yeah, he's wanting to see what really happened and study it and see if he could, come up with something to help other people.
Yeah, just use
if something like that happened to somebody else or whatever. Yeah.
And, most of the time you'd be like, oh, yeah, go for it. Mm-hmm. Like, if you really think, because I'm thinking, she's probably like, I'm not going to get caught. Because, it's time you'd be like, but like I said, like, you could be like, oh, no. And then that'd be kind of a head scratcher. Like, what? Okay,
like,
then why?
Like,
then why not?
Yeah.
So I think in her eyes, she was like, it could have been like, yeah, go for it.
Well, honestly, if you think about it, she's probably so, like, young, like, trapped at 16 because all this trauma she's experienced and then the things that she's done, she probably doesn't think that she could get caught by that.
Yeah.
And or they could find that, maybe,
But anyways, I will never understand that. But the autopsy, she was like, yeah, go for it. So the doctor performed the autopsy. Come to find out, there was so much arsenic, rat poisoning, either or, she used both, in his body, enough to kill a horse.
Wow.
That's a lot.
She was taking him out.
Yeah, like horses are huge and they weigh a ton, and oh my gosh, that's a lot. So with that information, he was like, what the fuck? Like, oh my gosh, okay, let me call the police. So he calls the police and alerts them, and then with that, they arrest Nannie. The reason why she was also called, what did you say?
I said cover.
Oh, what you said, forgive her.
No.
I was like,
no forgiving.
What did you say? She was called the Jolly Widow or Giggling Granny. She had a whole bunch of different names, but those two kind of really stuck out. Like Jolly Widow, like that's just, and Giggling Granny, like it's so creepy.
The Giggling Granny is like something you dress up for as Halloween.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna get this little costume, the little old lady.
Or like you get it at Home Depot. Those like big things that you see at like.
Oh, I go in there and push those all the time. I love pushing them all. I go in there and push them all at the same time and make them go off because I just think it's hilarious.
Your husband does it. He hates it. He like runs away. He's like,
It embarrasses everybody but me. I'm like, oh, look at this one. Push the button. Ooh, look at this one. Push the button.
It's so much fun, the stuff they say. It's like,
it is.
And some of them
They're
are
cool.
like,
I've always said if I was rich, I'd buy them all and stick them in my front yard for Halloween so I could run out there and just push the button.
There's a house over near Cody's house, my brother, and they have like their whole yard is full of those things. And at their front door is a killer clown. And I drove by and it scared the living crap out of me. Like I'm just driving to look over. I'm like,
I want to see it.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to take you over there. It's so cool. Like they have so many of those. And then down there at the bar, they have the really tall Jack skeleton.
Oh,
that one's really cool. Apparently somebody knocked it over the other day. Yeah,
on that person.
Well, that's a bar.
Whoever that was.
But during all that, they were called her the Jolly Widow, the Giggling Granny, because the reason why they call her that is because she had a cheerful demeanor during this whole thing. Because several weeks of investigating into Doss's murder, the Oklahoma police had enough evidence to arrest her for possible other murders too. So I don't really know how they got the information, because this is later on, this part kind of was like how, I guess they kind of maybe interviewed people, talked to the doctor, talked to other people to get that much information on his murder. This is only on his. Later on, we'll figure out that she also gets more. When she went to face her interrogators in 1945, she just kept laughing at the accusations that were brought to her. And like when they would, ask her and everything, she stated, "My conscience is clear." And she married those men because she loved them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love you, but I'm going to poison your ass.
For real. She also tells the investigator she never poisoned anyone. Like, why would I poison them? I love them. My conscience is clear. I've never poisoned that.
That's why that guy had enough poison in him to kill a horse.
Yeah, for real. So, like
poison people.
Poison people. I know. Oh, she got that sweet granny. I'm a sweet little granny. So, whenever investigators, whenever they come in, you watch it on TV and all that stuff, they always have two investigators that come in there with them, good cop, bad cop kind of situation, whatever. So they did that too. They had two investigators that would come in and question her. And during the questioning, she was stated that she took off her glasses, because she wore glasses. She took them off and she stated that she is neither nearsighted or farsighted. She just wears them for her headaches from the train accident that caused her head injury. So, that's just weird.
Okay. She just sitting in there saying stuff to try to make herself look crazy.
Yeah.
Like she's not wanting to answer the questions. Plus, why would you wear glasses for a headache?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wear glasses and I can't see shit. If I don't have on my glasses, I would get a headache because I can't see.
Yeah, because your eyes are straining and all that, and all
but
that.
The other way around, if you can see and you put on you're sitting around oh yeah, let's see if those glasses look good on me. You try on somebody else's glasses. Well, it's not your prescription. You're going to get a headache if you were to wear those for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand why she's. Well, I mean, who knows? She's just acting crazy.
Yeah, and also I don't know if it was after the train incident, when the train slowed down and she hit her head, if at that point she did wear glasses or she had glasses on before that, and she's just kind of making up an excuse and all that stuff. But okay, you're in there and the cops are we have this evidence that you killed your husband, all that stuff, and you're just sitting there going, You know what? I'm neither I said it
There
again.
you go. Yeah.
Because I'm like meshing the two together. Nearsighted or farsighted. Like I just wear them for a headache. It's like
What is that?
what that has.
Yeah.
That's not like what's that to do with the price of
She's
eggs in
trying
China.
to make herself look disconnected.
Yeah, it
From
was
the
like
situation. Yeah.
that has nothing to do with this whole investigation. Like we don't
Right.
give a shit about your eyesight. Like nobody cares. But yeah, that was I don't. That's so stupid. But after hours of investigating or interrogating of her, it was like she wore out 4 groups of interrogators. So that's what 2, 4,
Just-
6, 8 men, like
Just
going
sitting
in there.
there bullshitting.
Yeah.
Like just saying dumb shit. Yeah.
So like I don't know how many hours it was, but it was a lot of hours for them for 4 people, 8.
Yeah.
So after that, they were just kind of like, oh, we're done. It's been a long night. You know, we're not getting anywhere with this crazy kook lady. Let's just call it a night. I'm done. So during the night and all that, the news actually got around and it made the paper. And by the morning, the phones were just ringing off the hook. They were just, oh, hey, what are you talking about, Nanny? Yeah, I saw that her husband died. They were only married for like 3 days, 4 days, and he just magically died. He was a perfect, healthy man. Oh yeah, you know her sister, like she was hurt, perfectly healthy, and she came bedridden right when she got there, and she died. Oh yeah, her house burned down. That was weird, but she didn't leave. Like she waited. Like it was just like all this stuff was coming up, and like I said, there was information coming in about the children and her grandchildren and her sister and her husband and her mother and all that stuff. And you know what? I like the more I think about it, it's like I wonder if one of the people that called in was her first husband because he was the only survivor of all of them because they got divorced.
Oh, I know, yeah.
So I wonder if he called in and was like, hey, yeah, you know, my two children. Like my two
if
children.
he was still alive, I bet he did.
Or the investigators and police went to him and questioned him too. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, that can be even more. So with all the information, they brought it to Nanny. They were like, hey, yo, we got this now.
I still can't get over this whole thing. Somebody named their kid Nanny. Anyway.
when I think of Nanny, I think of that movie Nanny McPhee.
Oh yeah.
With a weird, ugly lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they brought it to her, and during 7 hours, like 7 hours, the whole time they're in there, they're just information. But every time they would say something, she would just giggle. She would just sit there and just. She finally admitted to the killing of Sam Doss, her 5th husband. She stated, Sam Doss annoyed me. And I just, shortly after marriage, and I just felt sorry for him. Like, what do you mean you felt sorry for him? Was he like,
yeah, I don't know.
Or is he like a loner and something like that? She's like, oh, I feel sorry for you.
Like, you're annoying.
Yeah.
I gotta poison you.
Well, I can see it being annoying. Like, okay, you can't have this. You can't bedtime's this time. You know, can't have any romance. Like, yeah, that could be annoying.
Like the mental abuse thing.
Yeah. So she said that he annoyed her, and she just felt sorry for him. And she's like also said, man, when I was nursing him back to health, he was meaner than ever. And that's when she decided to really kill him. She was like, okay, I failed. Maybe this is a sign from God or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then he was just a big asshole to her.
Hey, for real. Men are the worst patients. All you ladies out there know they are. We be in here doing dishes, taking care of the kids, and scrubbing toilets half dead. As soon as they get a sniffle, it's the end of the world.
Done. They're just like, they're like,
it's true.
You hand me the remote. I just feel so bad. Go to the doctor. I don't want to go to the doctor.
Yeah. Here, take this. Did you take this? No.
Well, then shut the fuck up. Get your ass to work. The yard needs to be mowed. Like, get up. But, he was she killed him because she tried to nurse him back to health, and he was an asshole. So the more evidence they collected, they just kept throwing at her. She just started confessing to all the murders of her other husbands. Like she stated up there with one of her husbands, she's like, yeah, because he was shining up with other women.
Yeah.
Like it was because of that. A lot of it.
Shacking up.
Yeah. So the ones that were like the womanizers, she was like, yeah, because you're
They were cheating.
You're out there cadoodling with other women.
Canoodling?
Is it canoodling or cadoodling?
I don't know. What is when you get catfish?
That's noodling.
Noodling. Okay.
They out there canoodling with some catfish. But with all that, she always confessed to murdering her husbands and stuff, but she never confessed to murdering any of her blood relatives, like her mother, her sister. I don't think there was any that she.
So she confessed to all her husbands, but not her family members.
Yeah, and I don't think she ever confessed to the mother-in-laws too.
Mm.
So, but she just always said about her husband. So the authorities exhumed some of Doss's previous victims and found excruciating amount of arsenic and or rat poisoning, either one, in their bodies.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I don't know if it was, some of her past husbands and anything like that. So, but it was her past victims. It never really stated who the past victims were. In all, authorities suspected that she killed at least 12 people. Most of them were blood relatives. But like she said, she never really admitted.
Yeah, she didn't admit to the relatives, only the husbands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was ever really.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
I mean, why would you admit to doing, something to your husbands, but
not her family,
not anybody else?
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to admit it, then why would you admit it anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Just say you didn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows? But she, Nannie Doss, blamed her murderous intents, all that stuff, on her brain injury that she sustained when she was 7 years old. The whole train thing, she says that's the reason why. Just trying to think of something. But I mean, it could also be because of that, because, your brain is a very,
you never know,
tendery, loving thing that you, you need to take care of your brain.
Tender loving care on your brain.
Yeah, tender loving care. But during all that, the journalists out there, all murder people, all that stuff, they always give them a nickname.
Always.
They always have some nickname for them. That's the reason why they ended up calling her the Giggling Granny, because every time she would tell the story of all that stuff, of killing her late husband, she would laugh. I don't think she would laugh like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying in my head, so that's what I'm doing.
You'd be like, yeah, I killed him. Like some evil witch lady.
Mm-hmm.
But Doss even had some surprising motives for killing her husbands and all that. She said she wasn't in it for the insurance money, at all. In her own words, she said that she was searching for the perfect mate and the real romance in life.
Yeah, because she was reading the romance novels and wanted the book life.
Yeah, she wanted all that love and everything.
She was in her little, made up fantasy world from her books.
Yeah, be like, okay, be reading the book. Most of the time, when you're reading a book and you get to a point where you're just kind of I don't really like this book. You can just, get rid of it. I think that's what she had in her mind.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
true.
This is my romance. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me just get rid of that.
Let me close this book.
Yeah, and open a new book and same thing.
Yeah.
But that was what she said that she was just in it for. She's looking for the perfect romance and all that, and it wasn't really. But the state of Oklahoma found her guilty of murder. The departments of the judicial states, whatever.
Judicial system.
Yeah. The North Carolina, Kansas, and Alabama also charged her with murder. But she never tried outside of Oklahoma. At the ripe age of 48 years old.
I'm 48 years old.
Yeah, you are.
And she's the Giggling Granny?
Yeah.
Do I look like a granny?
Do some little rolls, some little wrinkles. But they charged her with murder at the age of 48, and she faced the electric chair. So she was going to be the first woman in Oklahoma history to be executed.
Oh.
Yeah. But she wasn't. So 2 years after she was sentenced, a judge declared her insane, thus sparing her from the electric chair.
Mm.
And the judge later explained that, it was against his poor president's whatever, that he cannot, in a right mind, he cannot sentence a woman and also a woman with mental illness to death. So pretty much because she was a woman and mentally ill, she got out of the electric chair.
Of course she did.
Yeah. So with that, she was sentenced. She received a life imprisonment in 1955. Nannie Doss, she was very thrilled about the thought of spending her rest of her life in prison. So I mean, it's insane.
Why would you want to spend the rest of your life in prison?
Who knows? I think you can imagine myself going to prison.
I mean, especially like you have nothing. Well, maybe that's why she wanted to go to prison.
Yeah.
Because she done killed everybody that was her family.
But 2 years into her sentence, she kind of got a little sour about it, and she kind of really didn't like the idea of spending the rest of her life in prison, and she actually wished instead that she was put to death.
Well, let me poison everybody and kill everybody around me, but let me get sour about it.
Yeah, for real. I don't want to be here no more.
Mm-hmm.
So, she wished she was put to death, but she still retained her cheerful whole thing about it. However, but even like she would make some jokes about the case. I don't know if she was like talking to the other women in the prison, and they would ask her about a case or whatever.
Cracking jokes
yeah,
about
she was
what
still
she did.
laughing and making jokes about it. Even interviewing, like people will come in and interview her. She was actually put into the McAllister prison in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The job that she did, she worked in the laundry area, but she actually wanted to work in one other area that where they would.
Don't even say the kitchen. Don't say the kitchen. Don't say the kitchen.
Yeah, she wanted to work in the kitchen. And they were like, no, you're really good at folding clothes. You're going to stay in the laundry.
Let me work in the kitchen so I can poison the entire prison.
We'll get some of that rat poison. But yeah, she wanted to work in the kitchen. They told her no. So she stayed with the whole laundry thing. And I guess not sadly in a way, whatever. I mean, all death's sad. But Nannie Doss actually died of leukemia on June 2nd, 1965. And it was actually on her 10th anniversary of her incarceration.
Yeah. So she was only 58 when she died.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty young.
Yeah, that is young. I mean, that's close to my parents' age. They're both 59.
That's pretty young.
Yeah. She was buried in Oak Hill Memorial Park in McAllister, Oklahoma. And that's where she has been laid to rest. And everything. She died of leukemia.
Well, Nanny ain't coming to see you.
Nope. That was the whole case of Nannie McPhee is what I'm going to call her. Nannie Doss.
Oh, no. Nannie McPhee's sweet. That movie's good. You can't call her that.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that when women kill, they tend to keep things clean. Like they want to use poison or whatever. Like, you hear male serial killers and they've bludgeoned somebody, they've shot somebody, they've stabbed somebody. That makes a mess. It's like women don't want to make messes. Like they don't want to clean it up. It's like, damn, I already do the toilet and the dishes. If I murder, I'm not cleaning this up too.
No, they don't. They don't want to do any of that. They kind of just...
They don't want to make a mess.
They get nice and easy and slippery clean.
It's so weird.
Yep.
That's so weird.
That was all our crazy self.
No.
Before we end this video, I just want to let you guys know that all of our episodes that we record and all that, the audio has been available now on Spotify podcast. So if you guys want to go over and listen to that in the car or whatever, I know it can be distracting if you have a video playing in the car. That all of the audio and everything is on that now. It has not been put on Apple Podcasts or anything like that. It's only on Spotify Podcasts for now. See how this goes and everything. So jump over there, just search up Relatives Detectives, or you can search up the name of any of the title names of the movies of the videos is also the title of the podcast too. So just hop over there, listen to it.
Go take a listen.
Yeah, support us over there and everything. And don't forget to subscribe, like that like button.
Hit the bell notification.
Turn on all that. Leave some comments. leave us a comment what you think of this whole case. If you think it's daddy issues, if it actually was a brain injury, or she was really into romance, she wanted to find all that stuff. She did say that she did, but just all that.
Yeah.
Let us know.
I think she's crazy.
She's crazy. Next week, it's her turn.
Yeah. So we'll see you on our next case.
Yeah. Bye.